Why are we nervous? We already started this thing. But now it's like properly hooked up. Hello and welcome back. My camera has finally defogged. We're working on the 2020 GT500 blower swapped Terminator with a Coyote. I'm very excited to get this car tuned up and ready to hit the track and the dyno and everything like that. We've got a few tweaks, so I'm going to jump over to some clips from the other day when I filmed on my phone, then we'll jump into today. All right, back from Mustang week. Predator blower swapped Terminator. Predator swapped Terminator, whatever you want to call it. So you guys know we've been running the plastic throttle body. We're running fuel rails that don't exactly seat down properly. And we're also running 47-pound injectors. So we need to completely fix that up, get the fuel system in, get the heat exchanger plumbed. Step number one, we're gonna pull the plastic off, and we got actually a lot of parts in. We do have our IAT split out for that. That's good. We got ID 1300X. Our boys over at Lethal hooked us up with some 2020 GT500 fuel rails. So that's sweet. That's going to solve our problems there. We got the Ford Racing we got the Ford Racing 90 mil, and this is the major component that was holding us back. So throttle body, adapter, plate, based off of this 3D printing. We now have the CNC piece. This is not currently available for sale, but do let me know if you guys are interested in this. We might be making some of these, selling them. So that is that. Yeah, we got some work to do. We got to tap the cover for IAT. We got to get some block off plates for our map sensors and a lot of little small things, and I'm very excited. All right, kids, don't run plastic parts. That was obviously not meant for running. We sealed it up with RTV, and it was so sealed to it, when I pulled this off, it broke the plastic before breaking the RTV seal. But it did what we needed to do. It ran, drove in and out, made it to the show, and yeah, it was the temporary until we got our plate. All right, so the cool thing, now we can use O-rings. We won't need RTV. It shouldn't need any RTV to seal, so. All right, so throttle body wise, for the Ford Racing 90 mil, it looks like I'm just gonna have to go to the hardware store, get some hardware for it. We were looking around at some heat exchanger options. I got so many throttle bodies on that little thing. I pulled the bumper support off, just kind of playing around with some different ideas. It looks like this one line I got ran right here, down under, and that one's coming out right here, so that one's perfect. Just gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do for mounting brackets. It would be awesome if this car had an OEM 0304 Cobra heat exchanger like it originally had. With the brackets and everything, it would bolt right in place, and essentially you wouldn't have to do much there. But we're kind of playing around with it. This heat exchanger setup is going to be temporary, so I don't want to go too crazy with fabricating some big, nice, cool thing. This is going to go on there. More than likely, this car will get the upgrade, and then that triple pass heat exchanger will get passed down to this with the fancy bumper support. But yeah, so it's kind of figuring it out. Our cold air kind of goes here, so we need to figure out, you know, kind of where this is going, where we're going to put the reservoir. I also don't like, this is a really, really tiny reservoir, more water volume, less heat soak, but the 2020 GT500s do have a small bottle or reservoir. But originally I was kind of thinking of bringing this somewhere in this range, but I just don't want this to look kind of like jumbled up. So if we had a battery relocation, which we should probably do eventually, we could obviously put that over there, or we can put a smaller one of these on, put this somewhere over here. we got a few options. I'm probably gonna consult Brad tomorrow and see what his thoughts are, and we'll come up with a plan for that. And fuel system soon, and we'll be ready to make some power. Tap the cover. We'll bring you guys along the way of all the little tweaks we got to do to dial in this setup. Luckily, plenty of spare parts around, so we can definitely make it happen. Rob Shoemaker at Palm Beach Dyno, he's called me a few times about this. He's like, dude, when are we tuning this thing? When are we getting this running? I know a lot of people have been bothering him about that, and they want to do the same thing on their car. So we are going to do it, and we're going to try to do it first and get some really good track results. I think this blower is going to be nasty on this car, especially with it being a little bit lighter than, you know, the newer cars. And once I put the Gen 3 short block in this thing, 1,000 wheel horsepower in this chassis is a lot. I mean, even 900. I'd say we can safely, easily make 900. 1,000, we're going to start running into the issues with the throttle body not being large enough. We're gonna have to get creative, but once we do the ported blower, the Gen 3 short block, and kind of optimize the setup, I don't think we'll have any problem making some serious steam with this blower. After all, the 265 here and the 2020 GT500, I think this is a better blower than the other 265s on the market. Ford did an awesome job. These blowers make up to 1,200 wheel horsepower. Probably better than the 265 I ran on this car and the other 265 options on the market. This blower is straight up badass, especially with like the Whipple intercooler and the few little upgrades you can do to it. All right, so one major thing that we got to get done and accomplished is the fuel system. So we got the Division X rails. Those came in from Lethal the other day. Those look much better than the temporary rails we were running. We also picked up a bunch of fittings to get this all done. We picked up some lines. We got a Division X fuel hat over there. I don't believe we have an 0304 Cobra tank to use, which kind of stinks.
We'll see what's in the car. If it's one, then we'll use it. If not, then...
I was told this car has an SN95 tank in it when they did the Coyote swap originally, rather than the original tank, but it doesn't matter too much. It's just going to be one of those things where we'll have to make sure it has a full tank when we go full throttle or track racing or whatever. We're going to get the fuel system knocked out. We also got the blower lid pulled off as well. We got to tap that for the IAT temp sensor. And we also have to add a vacuum reference, boost reference port, as you can see right there. So we're gonna add those in, get the fuel tank pulled out, get the fuel system plumbed, a few odds and ends. You guys saw that I got the throttle body on. And yeah, we'll throw the ID1300X injectors in it, get a Rob tune, and we also got to mount the heat exchanger as well. That's why the bumper's off.
It's a lot. We'll see how much we can get done today before we get out of here. Kind of got a little bit of a late start, but it is what it is. We actually prepared a lot of this yesterday. We pulled in 2 other cars, drop out, see what they had going on, and now we're gonna make this real fast. Yep.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. Fun setup. Probably have to put the drag wheels on here soon and get it ready. All right, so Brad got the cover tapped. It's definitely a little bit harder doing it by hand than, you know, maybe with a drill press. But here, you wanna hold that? Tell them about your work.
It made me very mad.
So you can see the IAT is now definitely in there. So we will have our nice post intercooler IAT, because if you remember, this car blows boost upwards and down. So this is post intercooler, and therefore we have post intercooler and boost. So we'll have our boost reference for our fuel pressure regulator, because these don't have a boost reference. And you can see temp sensor looks good, boost looks good. And make sure this is nice and clean, make sure there's no metal shavings, and it's good to go back on the car.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, so we had a few snags come into play today, but we did get the fuel tank pulled out, a lot of the fuel system mocked up and figured out. Since it's not a kit that we're doing, you know, there's a lot of little figuring out and stuff, but we got the lid on. You can see we're using the IAT split harness right here. So the MAF normally picks up IAT there. We are instead taking the IAT out of the MAF. That goes into the MAF like normal, and it's going to be reverted to there, IAT2. So Rob already sent us the file for that. And then right there is going to be our boost reference line. So that is all set, and the lid's good to be on there permanently. Well, at least semi-permanently until we do an upgraded intercooler and all sorts of other stuff to this thing. So there we go. We will check back in, and we'll be doing some more of the other stuff. All right, a few days later, we got some parts in from Amazon for the fuel lines, and we got the adapters. Brad is loading the ID1300X injectors into the Division X fuel rails. I think he already got the regulator plumbed, some of the feed and return lines. We got a -10 feed, 8 return. He also mounted the hat. He got a lot of this done while I haven't even had a chance to pick up the camera. So we got our tank right here. Boom, Division X hat. We also put dual 525 Hellcat pumps in there. The plan is set this up to be ready to make 900 to 1,000 wheel horsepower, so that's why we have ID1300s and dual 525s. We should have no problem making 900 to 1,000 reliably. Yeah. So we're also doing a traditional style return versus like a deadhead setup. So that way we have plenty of fuel flow and won't have any issues. And we're pretty much just making this fuel system kind of from scratch. We got rails, hat, and injectors, and the rest is kind of fill in the blanks. It's sometimes a little fun and nice building your own fuel system because you can route your lines any way you want.
You can also add slack where you need a little extra, where some of these systems, they're so generic. I mean, if they're off by like a quarter of an inch, you're stretching something trying to make it work. So
yeah, so there's some benefits and disadvantages of having a pre-built system versus a one that you make yourself. Pre-made system you can probably get installed significantly quicker because you don't have to make the fittings and lines and everything, but you get some more flexibility. And with this being not a direct you know, system that you can make a kit for, we figured we would just go ahead and make it ourselves. And I just want to say, part of the reason why it takes us sometimes longer to do projects, you guys keeping us busy. This is all just going out today for Freedom Parts. Pretty much every day kind of looks like this. This is all UPS going out. UPS picks up daily now from us, so we're getting all these packages shipped out. Does take away from the project cars. We also have a Coyote going out to Jeff, North Carolina, so that one's getting picked up by freight here shortly too. But yes, back to the Cobra. I'm super excited to get this up and running, ripping, and Rob already sent over the tune, so we got to finish up the fuel system, mount the heat exchanger lines and pump, do some wiring, and we should be good to go. Yeah, so it looks like our little bendy bend. Hey, that worked. Don't go too much. No. I don't know how long until she snaps.
These sit up a little high. We'll see what it does when we put the bolt in it. See if it brings it down, or if we need to put a washer underneath of it.
That should pull it down, but we'll just have to see where it ends up going. Oh, this could be another vacuum leak. I don't think we ever sealed this one up yet. When we ran it.
We can put a cap on it.
Yeah, that one we're gonna need a cap on it. All right, so while Brad's been making fuel lines, I've been working on the little odds and ends. I just made a block off plate for this, and now I'm just waiting for the paint to dry on that. So I just cut these two brackets off, working on making a mounting location for the heat exchanger. Here's the simple little block off plate. as you can see right there. That will bolt right on, put a little RTV on the bottom, and that'll be good to go. Yeah, then let's get the heat exchanger mounted. All right, so I just went ahead and made the brackets for the heat exchanger, or just one. So now I'm gonna use this to trace out the next bracket. We're just doing a rectangle bracket off of the bumper support, and it'll support the heat exchanger. Real simple, just like that. Show you guys in a sec. Alright, so we've been grinding on this thing. Fuel system is in. Brad got the lines nice and done. Running all the way down. Got a nice fuel filter right there. All the lines up front are done. We got the heat exchanger plumbed, wired. We got the fuel system wired. We're about ready to stick a tune in this thing, check for leaks, and get her fired up, and hopefully we can start data logging it. But this is how we did the heat exchanger. I made these brackets. Boom. We got the intercooler pump. This is a 1314 GT500 / 2020 500. They're both the same. I got that right there. We got the run, so water feeds right here, down from the reservoir. Boom. In, out, around, up to the blower. Blower returns to reservoir and back around. So it's looking pretty good. Transchooler was like that. Don't judge us. That's not our work.
Rebuild.
Yeah. We gotta get to some other things at some point. I'm not a big fan of the PCM hanging off right here and all this wiring mess. This was,
to be honest, the PCM being there is far better than where it was when we got in the car.
Oh well, yeah, it was here. It was, yeah, rubbing the tire. But that's what we're working with for right now. We'll probably have to redo this car. Maybe when we pull the motor for the Gen 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, but we're almost ready to fire her up on actual tuned and ready to go. All right, first start. Why are we nervous? We already started this thing, but now it's like properly hooked up. Okay? Runs nice. What the fuck? You want to tell me how that makes any fucking sense? It's gotta be the hub. Holy. I've been over here diagnosing, completely gutted this. I already had the hub off too, so I just put that back on. We're gonna try to put this all back together. Maybe this was the issue, the reference for the bypass valve, and maybe this thing was hanging open, trying to boost at idle. So let's, hopefully we can figure it out. Because from everything I can see here, everything looks minty. So let's put it back together. I was afraid, the reason why I wasn't running it a lot was because I was afraid there might have been some bolt or hardware or something crazy like that. Checked all the ports, there's nothing. So, I don't know. Put it back together and try it. Motherfucker. That. I believe the PCB fucking works. Motherfucker. Alright, so everything seems to be good now. We're going ahead and loading revision number 2 from Rob the Tune Maker, Shoemaker. I've been bothering him. Huge shout out to him, of course. He's always the GOAT when it comes to tuning. Palm Beach Dyno. We also talked to Jason Textera of 1320 Junkie. He gave me the idea to check the bypass valve because I tore everything apart on this blower, and I guess the bypass valve was switched, and then I also hooked up the bypass vent to the intake so it's not releasing any unmetered air. Seemed to have fixed the issue, so I think it was basically trying to make a boost at idle, so the bypass valve was open, and that's what that weird whine noise was. So we're loading this in, we're trying to get our fuel trims in check, and then hopefully we can get out and get this thing filled up and get some wide open throttle. Unfortunately, it appears our fuel level sender is broken, so I'm gonna have to order another one and get in there. It looked a little bit not so great, and with it being removed, it looks like it's just not working. So I'm gonna order another one of those, and then we'll just have to drop the tank, fix the fuel level sender, but at least we can start getting this thing dialed in. Just make sure it's nice and filled up, and we should be good to rock. Just want to say, it's about midnight. For one, shout out to Rob Shoemaker. He was dialoguing back and forth. I think we got a decent baseline tune in it. We're kind of got a bunch of different things going on, for tuning wise, because this is a completely new setup. Had some weird issue with an idler. Idler has it's late. A little clip thing, C-clip, is that what it's called? On the back side of it, it keeps wanting to move outwards, and you're supposed to put this idler on to face the back side of the timing cover. Can't figure it out, flipped it around, and boom, it's good. It was hitting the water pump pulley, chased that. Obviously before that, I tore everything apart, fixed some vacuum lines, and we're trying to make this race Sunday with this car. Yeah, it's been a struggle. I mean, it's not easy sometimes, and when you put yourself on a time crunch, it's when all the little bugs come out. But Tomorrow, hopefully we can get some logging in with Rob Shoemaker, Palm Beach Dyno, and yeah, I'm gonna go try to get some sleep, check in tomorrow, but we've been grinding. All right guys, it's the morning. Already been working on this thing for hours with Brad. More tweaks, one more tune revision. Seems like it's good, so we're clear to go wide open throttle. See how this goes. I'm gonna split this video here because this has been like 2 weeks of working on this car and getting it ready to do this. So here goes nothing. Make sure you hit the like button, comment down below. This video will be out soon of going wide open throttle. Hopefully it goes well. Sunday, hopefully racing, and then next week, hopefully on the dyno with Palm Beach Dyno and Rob. But for now, we're just street tuning it. So if you're excited, hit the like button, comment, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, ready?